Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to the Gainesville City Commission Audit Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we have the adoption of the agenda.
I move adoption of the agenda as written and distributed.
And with the two of you, we only need one mover. You don't need
So
a
you
second.
don't need a second?
No, you do not need a second.
All right. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we're on to the approval of minutes with the recommendation the Audit Committee approve the minutes from the December 9th, 2025 meeting.
I move approval of minutes from the December 9th, 2025 Audit Committee meeting.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we're on to our discussion items, 2026-218 fiscal year 25 annual comprehensive financial report with a recommendation this audit committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the general government audited financial statements, independent auditors' reports, and annual management letters.
Mr. Auditor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon.
Clerk.
Attorney, city builders, city neighbors. Florida statutes require the city of Gainesville to conduct an annual financial audit. The audit has to be conducted by an independent certified public accountant. The report must be submitted to the state within 9 months of the end of the fiscal year. Our external auditor is Purvis Gray. And here today, on behalf of Purvis Gray, is Ms. Barbara Boyd. She's a CPA. She's an auditor. She's been an auditor with Purvis Gray for almost 20 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. She specializes in audits of local governments and public utilities. And she has served on various boards, including Florida Government Finance Officers Association and United Way of North Central Florida. Please welcome Ms.
Very good. Welcome, Ms. Boyd.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. All right, so I am here to present the results of the 2025 audit. I am pleased to say it's a clean report. It was a very good audit, so it'll be an easy job for me to present. So as you can see, there are several bullet points there of what we are presenting. The first one is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or the ACFR for short. That includes all the funds of the city, including GRU. And then below that are several other audits that are components of the ACFR, and they are separate audits for additional accountability and transparency. So that's the Local Government Infrastructure Sales Surtax for wild spaces, public places, and the street stations and strong foundations, that's always a mouthful, funds, and then the redevelopment trust funds, which are your previous CRA funds, and then the pension and OPEB, the retiree health insurance program plans. So that's when we're talking about the summary of the auditor's results, we are referring to all of those audits. So first and foremost on the summary of auditor's results is our audit opinion. And we issued an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. And what this means, even though it's one small bullet point there, it's actually the culmination of hundreds upon hundreds of hours of work, both from our end and from your finance teams. And there's a lot that goes into an audit as far as us asking lots of questions, reviewing lots of documents. And when we gather enough evidence to be able to base our opinion on the financial statements, we do issue an opinion and conclude whether the financial statements are fairly stated or not. So an unmodified opinion means that we believe your financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects.
And we do not take that small bullet point for granted.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next item on there is compliance with Florida Statute 218-415. So the state requires that we also conduct an examination on your compliance with local government investment statutes. And we concluded that the city complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements of that statute. The following item is the report on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters. So as part of an audit, we do look at your internal controls. If we don't issue an opinion on them, it's not the same level as an audit. But we, through that process, if we identify any control deficiencies that we consider to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies or any material noncompliance, we would report that to you. So I'm pleased to say there's nothing to report in there. The next item is the auditor's opinion on compliance for each major federal program and state project. So anytime you have more than $1 million of federal awards or $750,000 of state awards, you are required to undergo a single audit. In a single audit, we take a deeper dive into certain grants that are identified as major programs. So you did have on the federal side, ARPA for both general government and GRU was your major federal program. And on the state side, it was 2 RTS-related grants. We issued an unmodified opinion on both of those, the federal and the state single audit, and there were no findings relative to the major federal programs or the major state projects, so a clean report there. And similar to the internal controls over financial reporting, we look at internal controls over compliance as well, and there were no issues with compliance either. So, and finally, there is a management letter in your bound report, and we had no reportable items in that management letter. So, all in all, very clean reports. The next slide is on required communications with those charged with governance. So this is our communicating to you, the Audit Committee, and also the City Commission. And this report, it's a letter, it's a 2-page letter, which you have separately stated. It includes information that really enhances the transparency of the audit process, so information that isn't readily available from just reading the financial statements. And the first item on there is the qualitative aspects of accounting practices. So it talks about your accounting policies, any significant estimates, and your disclosures. In your accounting policies, there was an implementation of two new accounting standards this year, GASB 101 on compensated absences and GASB 102 on certain risk disclosures. Neither of these accounting standards had a significant impact on your financial statements, so there is no restatements and no new note disclosures there. Significant estimates in your financial statements. Not everything in your financials are historical fact. Sometimes management does have to make certain estimates about the numbers that are in there. We review the key factors and assumptions that go into making those estimates and make sure that they're unbiased and consistent from year to year. And then finally, disclosures. We also review to make sure that they're neutral, consistent, and clear. We do highlight one of the disclosures, note 15, which describes the various programs and projects to which the fund balance is restricted, committed, or assigned. The rest of the items there are just more boilerplate, but important too. We are pleased to report we encountered no difficulties in conducting the audit. Again, management was very responsive to us. They're very easy to work with. We certainly appreciate and enjoy working with your team. No misstatements identified during the audit. That's also a pretty big one. It's unusual to have absolutely no audit adjustments proposed. So that speaks to the level of your team and the work that they're doing throughout the year. No disagreements with management. We're not aware of management consulting with other independent accountants or auditors. So, all in all, like I said, a good report. And that does conclude my presentation, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you so much. And thank you for speaking to the effort and the quality of the folks who have been a part of supporting all of this. We appreciate our finance budget and auditing staff very, very much. And I want you all to know that I'm glad you're with us, and I'm glad that you're here today and that you've put the effort in that you have to get us to this point. And I appreciate the work of Purvis Gray to get us to this point as well. Again, we do not take this for granted. It is a big deal for us to be at this point. And I have been up here when it was not quite like this. So thank you for all the work that went into getting us here. Commissioner Willis, do you have any questions or anything to add?
I would say I've been slightly spoiled because the past couple of years, definitely the past 3 years, I can't remember 2023. There was a lot. I don't know if it came back in this portion, but so I've been a little spoiled. But thank you for your work with Purvis Gray to get us here, and thank you to the city staff. Knowing that there are no misstatements and no management disagreement shows that everyone is working and rowing in the same direction, and that we kept our noses clean all year so that there was no huge something that needed to be finished. So my appreciation to staff, and thanks to Purvis Gray as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this, Madam Clerk?
There's no public comment.
All right, Commissioner Willis, did you want to make a motion to recommend this to move forward?
I move we recommend the City Commission accept the general government audited financial statements, independent auditors reports, and annual management letters.
Is there any public comment on this?
Comment.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd, and all the staff at Purvis Gray, and everyone here at City Hall for your tremendous work on this. We will talk about it again on Thursday. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we're on to 2026-219 External Quality Control Review. With a recommendation, the Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the External Quality Assurance Reviewer's report and the Office of the City Auditor's Certificate of Compliance.
Mr. Auditor.
Afternoon again, Mr. Mayor. I'm Stephen Mayor. I did not introduce myself at first, so I'm the City Auditor. And I'd like to talk about this particular item. We do not have any slides for it, but I will talk a little bit about this external quality review. It's called here external quality review, but it is generally known as peer review. By ordinance, the Office of the City Auditor operates under two professional standards. We have generally accepted government auditing standards that we call GAGAs, and we also operate under global internal audit standards, previously known as international standards for the professional practice of internal auditing. GAGAs, or the Yellow Book standards, are issued by the United States General Accountability Office, GAO, and in general, GAGAS standards are required for federal, state, and local government entities. Global internal audit standards, also called Red Book standards, issued by the Institute of Internal Auditors, IIA, and they are used practically by everybody, private entities, public sector entities, non-profits, etc. Both GAGAs and global internal audit standards require compliance. And this compliance has to be verified by external quality reviewers in what is called a peer review process. A peer review is basically an independent validation of compliance with professional standards, as well as a validation of audit quality. Ours is conducted on a 3-year cycle because we follow, like I said, Yellow Book standards. Red Book standards require 5 years before you can do a peer review, but we do it on a 3-year basis. Ours was performed by the Association of Local Government Auditors, called ALGA, and it covered the period October 2023 through September 2025. It was conducted in December last year. The formal peer review opinion or rating for this process was a pass. We received a straight pass without any comment or anything like that. A pass is the highest possible rating. Other ratings include pass with deficiencies or fail. We just received a straight pass. In my supporting documentation, I provided the certificate of compliance. I also provided the peer review report, as well as the city auditor's response to the peer review report. I just thought to give you a summary of this whole peer review process, and I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Very good. Commissioner Willis, anything? Yeah.
Well, first, congratulations to you and your staff. I don't really have a question. It's really just a brag. No, congratulations to you and your staff. I know that this is, what we prepare for, what you do on a normal basis, but it's good to see it with the peer reviewers. I remember when they were here. So thank you to all of your work, all of your staff's work, and the previous staff. I know that you've had some change in the time period of 3 years. You weren't here 3 years ago.
Indeed.
But then also, I'm sure that all of our city staff cooperating as is lined out. in our policies and procedures helps us get to this point as well, correct? Like, it's not just what your office does,
That is correct.
it's everything so that everything flows in through, in the end, through the auditing flows through you. But then, because they were not just in your department, right? They were in other parts of the city?
In a peer review process, what they look at is the work that we do. But as you know, the work that we do involves management. So they will look at, let's say, recommendations, and they will look at responses provided by the auditors, and they will look at the work that has been done to implement any recommendations that we might have. Comments that might come from management, they also look at that. So yes, this reflects not only the work we did, but also the work that they do.
Great. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Mr.
Very good, thank you. I would echo all of that. I appreciate the work that everyone did to make this happen. I appreciate the peer review team that came in from the other communities, and I think this is the third time I've been involved in receiving that process, and I'm glad that we are a part of a process like that. It helps make sure that we are on the straight and narrow and doing the right thing. And is there any public comment on this?
There is no public comment.
Very good. Commissioner Willis.
I move we approve and recommend to the City Commission to accept the External Quality Assurance Reviewers Report and the Office of City Auditor's Certificate of Compliance.
I see no further lights. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we are on to PCI Process Audit 2026-220 with a description. The Office of the City Auditor conducted an information, I need to go to the recommendation. The Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the PCI Process Audit Report.
All right, Mr. Auditor.
Again, good afternoon. I'm Stephen Mary, City Auditor. The PCI Process Audit is an IT audit. So in our discussion today, we are not going to go into any details about findings and stuff like that in this audit. However, our IT audit manager is going to have a little bit of some discussion of what we did on that audit.
Very good. Welcome.
Well, good afternoon, Audit Committee. My name is Lisa Sedzik. I'm the IT Audit Manager. Thank you, Mayor Ward and Commissioner Willits and everyone. I am going to just give you a very, very brief summary of what we did as this audit. But first and foremost, I do want to provide a thank you to management and staff of various departments. Something this broad takes a lot of people. And so I do want to thank the City Manager's Office. I want to thank Finance, IT Technology, the City Clerk's Office, Gainesville Police Department, Transportation, Parks, Recs, and Cultural Affairs, Sustainable Development. So all of those accept credit cards on behalf of the city. So they, of course, were part of this. Okay, so in summary, all I'm going to do is provide what the objective of this audit was, what the audit scope, and my methodology for performing this audit. So the objective was to assess the governance, efficiency, and effectiveness of the controls around the use of payment cards across the city of Gainesville, specifically general government, referencing those departments above, against the requirements of the payment card industry's data security standards, which is built from all of your credit card companies, Discover, et cetera. This includes the management of services delivered by external providers. The scope was really assessing the design and operating effectiveness of those controls and processes relating to the acceptance of credit cards, and it focused on contracts that we currently have in effect here at the city and any activities that occurred between October 1st, 2024 through September 30th of 2025. And the methodology, especially for field work, was really inquiry, observation, and substantive testing of different sorts of areas relating to credit cards. And again, it focused around the procurement of those contracts relating to credit cards, governance of them, monitoring of them, any reconciliations performed as a result of accepting credit cards, and any assessments and validations over our service providers that may have occurred during that time period. All the results for this were confidential and exempt from public record as described in the report. And so I want to open it up to see if you have any general questions about this particular audit.
Okay. Commissioner Willetts.
Yeah, so how did, identification of risks and any recommendations, how did that go with city staff and management? And whether that's a question for the city manager is fine.
I mean, generally, I think it went well. I think we realized, policies and procedures, obviously is typical. Probably need some strengthening, further strengthening. But I don't know if Mr. Persons, if you have anything that you'd like to add about. But it generally was received very well by all departments.
Welcome, Mr. Parsons.
Thank you. Andrew Persons, interim city manager. Yes, I think we've been working with the auditor's office on this audit. I think generally we're very much in agreement. I think particularly for us, we are, I think, in the process, if we haven't launched additional PCI training for staff that deal with this. I don't know if Mr. Nguyen, you want to talk a little bit about the training that we're doing?
I won't go into too much detail, but we are, with the recommendations the city auditor has provided us, we are updating our standards, providing updated trainings, and also making sure that staff are aware of the PCI compliance and PCI standards.
Some of those, just to be clear, so some of those standards, the DSS, the data security standards that the industry uses, they change. There's different, as it goes through the years. So part of this is just catching
Yes,
up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, we're always continuing to monitor the standards and making sure that we're up to date.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
The only thing I wanted to add too, I think it's been very helpful having Ed Nagy here, having an in-house IT resource, particularly with this audit. I don't think when Ed came on, he figured he'd be thrust into multiple audits right at the beginning, but he's been very, very helpful for us in making sure that we're not just up to date today, but up to date for any future changes, because it is a ever evolving landscape when it comes to compliance changes on the technology side.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Any public comment? Madam Clerk?
No public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I move, let me see where we're at. I move approval and recommendation to the City Commission accept the PCI Process Audit Report.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously as well. Thank you for the tremendous work on moving this forward. We've been talking about it for a long time, and I'm glad to see it finally, come before the committee. So, thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we're on to 2026-221 Facilities Management Audit with recommendation the Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the Facilities Management Administration Audit Report.
All right, Mr. Auditor.
Again, the facilities management audit is going to be presented by our assistant city auditor as well as our staff auditor, Ms. Diana and Mr. Peter, respectively.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioner Willis, colleagues, and neighbors. I'm Diana Satterthwaite, Assistant City Auditor. Our Staff Auditor, Peter Demaris, will be providing an overview of the Facilities Management Administration, and I'll provide the audit results. But before we begin the presentation, I'll take this opportunity to thank the management and staff of the Public Works Department for their cooperation, accessibility, and professionalism throughout the audit. They really worked well with us. I just want to say thank you. Peter will continue from
Very
here.
good. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Ward, Commissioner Willets, Peter Demaris, Staff Auditor. I'll just be bringing you through the introduction and the background. So for the introduction, the objective of this engagement was to determine whether internal controls in place provide reasonable assurance that city-owned facilities are safe, compliant with regulations, and are managed efficiently. The scope of this audit included assessing activities from October 1st to 2023 to September 30th, 2025. We accomplished our objective through inquiry, observation, and substantive testing, focusing on governance, preventative and unscheduled maintenance, safety inspections, custodial services, and information technology controls, which are confidential. We won't be discussing those during this presentation. For background, the Facilities Division of the city's Public Works Department is responsible for overseeing the operation, maintenance, and improvement of city buildings and facilities. Facilities plans preventative maintenance, coordinates repairs and upgrades, conducts safety inspections, and oversees custodial services. Facilities maintains electrical, HVAC, and structural systems to ensure regulatory compliance. And the facilities manager oversees maintenance and repair services and is supported by 20 staff members and external contractors. The work done by facilities supports the goals of best-in-class neighbor services and more sustainable community. For best-in-class neighbor services, inspections help ensure that existing public infrastructure is not damaged or improperly altered and verify that work adheres to code and other regulations. For more sustainable community, effective and efficient preventative maintenance programs can reduce time and effort associated with unexpected maintenance, lower the cost of repairs, reduce equipment downtime, and extend the life of infrastructure. And the facilities division assesses its success using key performance indicators, KPIs. And with that, I will hand it back over to Diana.
Very good.
Okay, on to our conclusion. We concluded that management designed and implemented internal controls to effectively manage facilities, comply with regulations, and reduce safety risks. However, some enhancements are needed to ensure KPIs are documented, reviewed, and reported. Maintenance and custodial service documentation is complete and timely. Component life expectancies and replacement priorities are documented. The timeliness of safety inspections and corrective action, and that user access is based on the principle of least privilege. We did identify a noteworthy accomplishment. Kudos to the facilities team. Vendors for facilities-related services were selected in accordance with city procedures. We looked at 17 contracts and all were selected in accordance with procedures. We identified opportunities for improvement in the following areas: key performance indicators, work orders, custodial building inspections, component replacement, safety inspection, and user access, which is confidential and will be excluded from this presentation. We begin with our first issue, key performance indicators. Facilities developed and reported on KPIs. However, there isn't a documented procedure to guide staff on which matrix to use or how to generate reports. Some KPIs did not align with the data used to create them, and some recommended KPIs outlined in best practices were not tracked. We provided management with the following recommendations: develop and document KPI matrix based on industry best practices, and develop and document a review process for KPIs reporting to ensure accuracy. Management provided an action plan which they hope to have implemented by October 31st, 2026. They will develop written procedures to identify how reports are generated from the system and documented for KPIs. This will include reviewing and modifying current KPIs as they determine appropriate, developing additional KPIs based on industry standards that are applicable to the organization, and they will be developing process for accurately reviewing and reporting data. On to our next issue, work orders. Facilities established a preventative maintenance work order program. There's also a procedures for handling requests for maintenance and emergency repairs. However, The procedures do not include provision for setting work order schedules that deviate from the manufacturer's guidelines. It does not include timelines for completing work order or reviewing the schedules. It doesn't specify how staff should document action taken or labor hours, and the review process can be bypassed. We provided the following recommendations to management. This includes updating the procedures for reviewing the preventative work order schedules and deviations from manufacturers' recommendations, include a process to ensure timely completion of work order, provide guidance on documenting action taken, require monthly review of work orders, and ensure that staff are trained. Management provided the following action plan, which will be implemented by October 31st of 2026. They'll review the preventative maintenance procedures to include documenting deviation from manufacturers' recommended PM frequencies and ensure timely completion. They'll also update the reactive work order procedure. They'll provide training to staff, and they'll be conducting monthly reviews to ensure work orders are reviewed and closed by the appropriate personnel. The third issue is custodial building inspection. The preventative maintenance schedule for custodial inspection reminders is not documented in the system, and the custodian inspection work orders are not reviewed in accordance with procedures. There were inconsistencies in the checklist. We reviewed checklists for May 2025, August 2025, and September 2025, all contained the dates for November 2025. As a result, we did not have confidence in the reliability of the data in these checklists. Additionally, the buildings listed for inspections did not match those in the departmental procedure. We provided the following recommendations: create a preventative maintenance task for custodial building inspection checklists and follow the procedures. Management provided the following action plan, which, like the other two, will be implemented by October 31st. They'll be updating the procedures to clearly identify preventative maintenance tasks on the custodial checklist. They'll ensure staff are trained, and they will supervise staff to ensure that they're following procedures. On to issue number 4, component replacement. There is a documented procedure for component replacement. However, this procedure does not provide information on life expectancies and replacement priorities. Life expectancy for 13 of 30 components reviewed were not identified in the system. Components were not always replaced timely, and the timeliness of replacement for 12 of 30 components reviewed was not determined due to insufficient documentation. We provided management with the following recommendations: develop processes for documenting components placed in service dates, life expectancies, and the timely reviews, and documenting those in the departmental procedure. Management agreed with our findings and provided the following action plan. They will be developing processes and documenting them in formal procedures to improve equipment recording and for tracking service dates and life expectancies. And on to our final issue, safety inspection. There is a procedure for safety inspection. However, it does not provide sufficient details to determine the amount of equipment or the timeliness of safety inspection. It doesn't guide staff on how to adequately maintain safety inspection records, document deficiencies, or track completion of corrective action. Inspection records for 24 of 30 locations with fire sprinklers, extinguishers, or elevators were not located, and the number of fire extinguishers invoice for 6 locations differed from that cited in the contract. We provided management with the following recommendations. Develop processes for documenting and review equipments that require safety inspection. Develop a process for logging completed safety inspections, deficiencies noted during inspections, and corrective actions, and documenting all these in their departmental procedures. Management agreed with our findings, and like the others, they will be implementing this action plan by October 31st of 2026. They'll update or develop their departmental procedures to reflect the processes for safety inspection accurately, to improve documentation, deficiency recording, and corrective action monitoring. This will include reviewing equipment that are currently being inspected and identifying new equipments for inspection. Thank you. That's it from us.
Very good.
Do you have questions?
Thank you. Commissioner Willis.
On issue 2, the preventative maintenance work orders, and are they, I'm trying to understand the relationship between the work orders and then the first issue, the key performance indicators. Is the speed or that they're closed out or finished, these preventative maintenance, is it an existing key performance indicator, or is that the kind of thing when we say these key performance indicators need to be well established and followed and regularly
So
reported on?
I
Is
think
that one of them?
there is a correlation, yes. There are KPIs that they're currently tracking, and there are some KPIs that may not be there as yet. For example, work order response time or reactive versus. But I see Gary right here. I think he probably wants to add something here.
Perfect.
Can I get clarity on the question again?
So, because the first issue is about the key performance indicators, where there's some recommendations to develop and document those metrics, and then in issue 2 there was preventative maintenance work orders that also need some improvement. And so, is it that partially we don't have the key performance indicator to tell us ahead of time that this is that the particularly preventative maintenance work orders? See how I'm tying it together?
Okay, we have key performance indicators that we're tracking, and it is for preventive maintenance work orders and regular work orders, and we're tracking how many we were receiving and how many we're completing, the timeline that we're completing them. I think what the issue is that we need to document better how we're arriving at that, how we're pulling the reports. I'm pulling the reports, and I'm pretty much the only one that knows how to do it. I never wrote down how I'm pulling the reports, and it's really hard to duplicate my results, because when we pull reports from our system, you're getting a snapshot in time. This is what it is today at the end of the quarter.
That's
So
part
we
of what
have to
needs to be
document that better.
institutionalized, I guess, or documented in part of a process, so that if you get hit by a bus,
Yes,
we're still out
exactly.
here collecting, reading, and responding to key performance
On behalf
indicators.
of risk management, I would recommend you not be hit by a bus, but just a sec.
Okay, that helps me understand a little bit,
So
because these issues are
majority of the items, I think that what we have here is that we need to better document our procedures, and we are already working on those things.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much. I think that was the. Well, then I have one question about custodial building. I don't know who this will be for, the number 3 issue. Does that include buildings for which we, city staff, do not provide the custodial services, park bathrooms, or something like that?
Custodial building inspections, and they have a custodial staff.
Okay. Because we have some contracts for some custodial services that are
Yes, we have
external.
a custodial contract for some buildings. The majority of the larger buildings, including City Hall and Old Library, are done in-house.
So the ones
Police
that are-
department's done in-house.
The ones that are done out of house, does it, because there was some specific, something about either checklists, I don't want to say complaints, but things that are reported in, do these things get measured the same way between what's done in-house and what is contracted out?
Actually, that's a very good question because these procedures are very, very new and we're implementing them with staff. And so the data that we had really to draw from was very, very weak. So we realized that and we need to clean them up. We need to further develop the procedures and also include the outsourced buildings.
Okay, it's just,
And we do not do the custodial services for all of the buildings. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that. Facilities only does a very small portion of the buildings. Parks pretty much takes care of all their own custodial services.
Right.
Fire department takes care of their own except for the catalyst building. We do take care of the police department, public works, city hall, Thomas Center B. Parks takes care of Thomas Center A. So there's a lot that we don't do. So there's very, very minute amount of the overall facilities that facilities manages custodial services.
and I know this is one department, I'm just trying to establish the kind of how this is all being done, because unfortunately things are done in different pots, different departments,
Yeah.
and both our employees and the public experience different parts of it, and they kind of think it's all the same. I think it's all the same. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there's
It's not.
some custodial staff across the but it's different departments and then outside services. So I'm just trying to understand what the commission understands or could understand as a complete picture of that, and that all those things are being have some sort of standard. This is obviously just in public works facilities management, as opposed to what the fire department is doing. And I know they probably have all kinds of standards and health, and there's all kinds of stuff with their accreditation as well that probably different pieces of this but just kind of understand how it all works together. So, but
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions, comments? You good? Okay. Madam Clerk, is there any public comment?
No public comment, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Commissioner Willis, have a motion.
Yes. I move we approve and recommend to the city commission accept the facilities management. Oh, no, this is, am I there? Yeah, the facilities management administration audit report.
All right, seeing no further lights, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, our final discussion item, 2026-222, City Auditor's Quarterly Update with a recommendation that Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the City Auditor Quarterly Update.
Very good. Not to sound like a broken record, but Mr. Auditor.
Good afternoon. In this particular item, I'm going to discuss pretty much something that I've discussed with members of the City Commission on a regular basis. We are required to communicate to those charged with governance our activities in the office, and this quarterly update is one way by which we accomplish that. There are many other ways. We do memos. We, like I said, meet with members of the City Commission on a one-on-one basis, and we discussed all these things. So I'm going just to again refer to things that have already been talked about. These are things that are going on in the office. We completed 2 audit projects that have just been discussed in this meeting. That's the facilities administration audit, as well as the PCI process audit. I'm not going to talk much about them because they've been discussed already. What we have going on in the office right now is 2 projects that are in progress. And those 2 projects include the Gainesville Fire Rescue badge access audit. Can somebody click for me, please? I'm sorry. All right, the Gainesville Fire Rescue badge access audit, the objective of which is to assess the adequacy of badge access controls, as well as to assess the physical keys to the Gainesville Fire Rescue building, the internal controls around those. This is basically an IT audit, and it's underway, being conducted by our IT audit manager, Lisa. The other audit that we have going on is the Gainesville Police Department Forensic Crime Unit audit. The objective of this one is to review the adequacy and effectiveness of controls over the forensic crime unit's operations, to ensure integrity, reliability, and compliance with applicable standards and policies. We believe that these 2 audits will be available for presentation when complete in our next Audit Committee meeting. Right now, we are in the field work of one of them, and we are in the research stage of the other. Research stage for the Gainesville Police Department Forensic Crime Unit audit. Besides audit, we also, in the office, in the city auditor's office, do post-audit reviews, generally referred to as audit issue follow-ups. And you will see on the screen a donut that is showing audit issues that we've been dealing with. So we have 14 issues that have been closed, 6 issues that are still open, and 2 issues that have been partially implemented. The important thing, the most important message that I would like to say here is that we have not had any resistance at all from management with respect to implementing our recommendations. All recommendations have been agreed to by management, and all recommendations have either been implemented or are in the process of being implemented. The ones that you see that say open, 6 of them, they all have not yet reached their target implementation date. That is why they are open and not partially implemented or closed. We have just provided a few examples. Well, these audits that we're talking about here are audits that issues that we closed this particular quarter. One of them is the GFR, fire inspection, and the other one is the affirmative action plan. They have both been closed in this particular quarter. We do have others that have been partially implemented. One of them is in HR recruiting and is entitled HR recruiting and hiring process, partially implemented. The other one is GFR fire inspections. This one is also partially implemented. We have not included any detail of open issues because, like I said, the dates of implementation of those have not yet passed. In the Office of the City Auditor, we also deal with issues of ethics and fraud. And we do training, fraud training for city employees. It has been the practice that employees of the city, as well as GRIU, correct me if I'm wrong, my staff, as well as GRIU staff, take this particular training. And the pie chart that you see is telling us the percentage of employees that have either taken the training, have not taken the training, or are in the process of doing so as of March 12th this year. So we have employees that have completed this training amounting to 73%, 1,636. Employees that were in the process of doing this training as of March 12th, 2%, 44 people, and 553 or 25% had not yet started doing the training. I would like to point out that although it is expected that employees, at least so far, that employees take this training, we really do not have a requirement for all employees to do so. We don't have a policy that says all employees must take this training. However, we believe this is going to change once we are done reviewing our fraud policy. Our fraud policy now includes the new one. Once it comes into effect, it includes a requirement that all employees take this training. This training is computer-based. So it started in December and ran until the end of February. And these numbers that you see are as of March 12th. We intend to keep that as such that it will continue to be a computer-based training. However, once we fully understand the nature of the people that had not even taken or started to take that training, we might get to a point where perhaps it is necessary to have this training given on a face-to-face basis to those people that might not have the opportunity to sit in front of a computer and do that training. We also, in the Office of the City Auditor, operate a fraud hotline. We do investigations that come out of this fraud hotline. As of March 16, we had opened one new case. We had already 3 cases that carried over from the last quarter, and we closed 2 cases. We do not discuss in detail the issues or the nature of these investigations because we intend for them to be private. The hotline offers privacy for those that want to report anything, and we grant that to them. We do, from time to time, hold discussions with executive management about any of these issues if we think they warrant such a thing. But we, from time to time, receive reports in the fraud hotline where, once we go into them, we find that they do not really warrant us to carry on or to talk with management or anything like that. Such reports we just close. We do look at every report that comes in and only take further those that merit that. Sometimes we receive reports that really don't belong to us. That must go to Human Resources, or that must go to Office of Opportunity and Inclusion. We transfer those issues to them once we get that. With respect to external audits, we just had a presenter from Purvis Grade that did that, so I'm not going to spend any much time on that. Well, that then is the conclusion of my presentation. However, before I completely close this, I would like to advertise the dates that are coming up for Audit Committee meetings. We have June 16 is the next one. After that, September 22, if this don't change, of course. And the last one for the year will be December 8, 2026. I've also, on this chart, advertised our fraud hotline, which is available for all employees, including even our neighbors, to report issues of fraud that they think they might have seen. Of course, we expect that when they make these reports, that they are genuine in making these reports. Like I said, we follow every report, and if people make reports that are not genuine, it only means that auditors are just spending time on issues that really don't warrant that. But like I said, we follow everything. I've also advertised the phone numbers for anybody who might want to report harassment or discrimination issues, as well as for issues related to employee relations. That's all my presentation. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Willits.
I will just say, I think I know this will be coming to us in the future, but the fraud risk management policy update or revision, it seems somewhat reasonable to put into the policy requirement of the fraud risk. My question for you or for other cities or for management as well is I also like the idea that it would be an annual basis, a report where we're at. Is that do we set 100% as a goal, or do we set a more realistic goal and just really shoot for 85%? And I just don't know how that operates in most bureaucratic systems. I know at the University of Florida, there's a whole list of things that we're required to do. I know that we don't always finish them on time by the end of the year or whatever. And so I just kind of wondered, is there recommendations for set a 90% and then hope, or work towards it?
You are asking with respect to the percentage of people that take this training? Well, ideally, you would want 100% of people to do it. But in practice, I don't think that's possible. Because like I said, there is the issue of people that don't work in front of computers all the time. those people might have difficulty taking this training. I don't have a number that we say is a goal that we think we might want to shoot for. Like I say, ideally 100%. But maybe management can help us with that. Where they think we can land possibly, with the kind of people that have doing all kinds of responsibilities.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you. I'm not aware of a specific policy for that. I think we do try to, to the best of our ability, try to hit 100%. But we do, as the auditor pointed out, we do have a lot of field staff that don't have access to computers. So the logistics of getting folks in front of like a shared computer to do training is really kind of what it comes down to, which is my guess is what that 25% is.
Yeah.
We just, I think my understanding is with the, with our harassment and discrimination training that we've done this year, I think we actually got, I don't remember what our percentage is, but it's the highest we've gotten to date from that. So we push that information out as much as possible, and we're happy to try to brainstorm if there's a percentage, but largely we just try to shoot for 100%. It's just some probably more logistics is what gets into the way of that remaining percentage.
And part of my question about this is that if it's that we can get to 85% without having to do in-person trainings, is that like good enough, or do we owe it to all of our employees so that they know about fraud prevention to go ahead and do that in person? So that's. And part of that's understanding the numbers. Because if it's a very small number, that it's because we really need to go to them.
Right.
If you're hitting 95%, maybe that's good enough. I don't know. Or maybe the commission says, no, it's not good enough. Or management may say, no, it's not good enough. But I support the idea that if you have to do some in-person training, sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, and I think we could probably have some follow-up conversation with Laura Kretz and kind of. I think we have a pretty good idea of how many, what percentage of our workforce actually works or has access to a computer on a regular basis versus, somebody like, a bus driver who's out in the field all day or a labor crew person, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Willits. Is there any public comment? Madam
There is no public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Clerk? Okay. Commissioner Willits.
I move we accept and recommend to the City Commission to accept the City Auditor Quarterly Update.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have member comment.
Commissioner Willits. Okay. All right. Thank you all. I appreciate that we've had a lot of people in the room today for these, and these are all very important things for us to have worked through. And once again, I'm super pleased with where we are in all our audit procedures and the way our organization works through all of this. So thanks everyone for your time and attention today, and we are adjourned.
Okay, so this is-